Hi guys, the Joker here. Today we're doing a review of the new Clipping album. There existed an addiction to blood. Hey guys, it's Xander here. You guys know I like to indulge with my costumes. This year I'm as someone who hasn't seen the new Joker movies, Joker. So yeah, put a little bit of effort in, made this settle spooky today, because today we're reviewing a very spoopy album. And not only is this album spoopy, it's kind of unexplainable. You see, I discovered this band fairly recently, near the beginning of this album cycle a few months back. The first song I heard was Nothing Is Safe. I think it also played on YouTube while I was playing some video games, and it just utterly shocked me. It's kind of unlike most other rap songs I've ever heard. Somewhat narrative-based, but is still making its point. Couple that with some pretty unique production, intense highs, just banging beats, and some of the most impressive rapping I've heard in a while. My head was certainly turned. Comprised of 3 members, John Snipes, Will Hudson, and Dave Diggs, all their real names, by the way. This rap trio, as I soon discovered, was completely incomprehensible. Seriously, every friend I've shown this to has been like, what? I think that goes for critics as well, myself certainly included. To put it into perspective, they have a video where they operate on a firearm, pulling its organs out before the lead singer begins eating it. Lovely. And with cuts on the album like Possession Interlude, which is like a guided meditation style narrated tale of a guy like experimenting on this girl, with a vibe that doesn't let me know if this was recorded or sampled from some old horror movie I don't know about. And you have a potential recipe for disaster. But long story short, no, this album is amazing. If I move this, will there be like more light? Is that spookier if it's like harsh from one side? I should say at this point in the video I stole a cone. I was going to put this near the end. So this band has 2 producers, so you can expect some weird beats. And that is what we're getting. They use incredible amounts of distortion, like those bass boosted videos you see on YouTube, but this is the real thing. But it works pretty well here. Most of the time it's just undercutting Dave's vocals nicely, but half the time on the slower tracks it often try to have more of a story to them. It takes on like a hip-hop meets 9 Inch Nails vibe that I just love. It's really cool seeing the direction the production's taken in this post-Death Grips hip-hop landscape, with things like PC Music or JPEG Mafia becoming mainstream. Though having said that, it's not all good. Most of the beats are a little too simplistic for my liking, especially given that there are 2 producers. I understand that for many of the tracks the minimalism is the point, but that doesn't excuse that some of them end up being slightly uninteresting. And on an album this long with a bunch of slow tracks, that can become a bit of an issue. Though this is a relatively minor critique, I think that the point of this is that they're simple and they slowly build up an atmosphere, which they do very well. Instead of all being singles. Though having said that, there are a couple bangers on this album. The one I mentioned earlier, Nothing Is Safe, along with Blood of the Fang, are simultaneously some of the catchiest and most impressive hip-hop songs I've heard all year, especially with the chilling, ingenious use of that sample. There existed an addiction to blood, blood, blood. Although, like I said earlier, the beats aren't meant to stand on their own. This is all undercutting Dave's rapping, which is just amazing. His rapping is broadly horrorcore, a rap genre known for its overly violent and gruesome depictions of things that sadly kinda got swept up in the nu metal craze, but it's also much more than that. As I've said before, a lot of the tracks take on a narrative style. The stories can be as explicit or cryptic as they like. On things like Story 7 simply describing a stabbing, and of course some of the ones like Nothing Is Safe can be taken from a metaphorical political edge, but they provide a great create a great exciting vibe throughout. It keeps you hooked, wanting to know what's gonna happen next. And of course on some of the louder tracks with the epic bass lines, it is candy to the ears to hear him jump into double time rapping. Imagine like Eminem with substance. I'll put it this way, the fact that I'm recommending horrorcore this much should really tell you something. Honestly, I don't know what else there is to say. This album has a beautiful mixture of exciting banger tracks and slow-paced methodical tracks that really build up a sense of dread. Provided you're not too freaked out by blood, I can recommend this to basically anyone. If you're looking for something slow and thoughtful or just a headbanger, there's stuff here for you. And of course, it's an amazing Halloween album. With the whole fucking set and shit, you know I'm gonna bring it up at some point. Absolutely loving this album, and I'm thinking a 7+ out of 10. Dear guys, I am back. I know some pretty big albums want my attention right now, and I promise I'm gonna get to them, but I don't think the new Swans album really gave me an excuse to ham it up here, and I want to listen to it a few more times before I fully cement my opinion on it. There's of course that album and the guy who rips off Orville Peck. I'll see if I can get to those soon, and I promise I am still working on my catch-up video. I've also got some pretty cool ideas for like a look-back series that you guys will be hearing more about in the future. It's a pre-written, more high-effort type thing I think you guys are going to like. So if that sounds good to you, I would really appreciate subscribing. Of course, liking, it helps me out tremendously. And I'll see you guys next time.